Hello there, Year 4, and welcome to your final art lesson on Friday, the 27th of November. The last week's art lesson, I'm pretty sure you did way better than I did, and I loved seeing the photos that you sent in of your Play-Doh and your blue tack. I apologise now, mine was very rubbish, but it's a lot trickier to do it on screen when I'm filming than it is when you can take your time. We are going to continue with our canopic jars. Again, this will be slightly different as we're not in school because I still can't give you clay to use. But if you can find any more blue tack, any more Play-Doh, anything that you can move around, that would be brilliant. And the only other thing that you might need today is some kind of cup, because we are going to be using clay or using our equipment today, whatever you have, to make our canopic jar bases. Okay, I'm not going to read the steps as it says today because they are quite different because we're not going to be using clay. Okay, starting off then, it's what have you learned about using clay so far? I need to skip past this because we haven't actually used clay in school yet, but I suppose you could answer the question, what have you learned about using Play-Doh so far? What have you learned about using blue tack? And maybe what will help you when making your base today for your jar. Just have a think about where you are on that learning line. Again, it is quite different because we haven't been using that clay, but how confident do you feel about using the equipment that you have? Okay, moving straight on then. Below are some different jar bases. Can you tell me about them? So on the left-hand side, there is what we call a pinch pot. So the pot has been made by pinching around the clay, or yours would be the blue tack or the Play-Doh. The one in the middle is a coiled pot, been made by wrapping around and coiling. And the final one is a slab pot, which means it has just been made with a slab of clay in this case, and they've made a hole in the middle. What is the same, what is different about these examples? Have a pause of the video and have a think about those. Okay, so today we are going to start making our canopic jar. Now, we're going to start making it from home. I still absolutely promise that when we get back to school, we will do these lessons again, and we'll do them with clay, and we'll do them properly. And that includes last week's lesson again, where we had a go with clay and we learned how to use it. And then we will have this lesson where we make the base, and the following lesson in school where we make the top of our canopic jar and our lids as well. So we will make the base today and make the lids next lessons. That's what it just says on the slide. So how are we going to do this? So normally it'd be with our designs that we created in the last week that we had at school, and we'd add clay equals what. So again, we're not going to be using that clay today, but it's worth having a think about how we'll do that in school anyway. So this is where you're going to need your cup, and these are the instructions that we would be following if we were in school. So you need to take a cup of some kind and prick holes in it using a toothpick. So we do that, which will help the clay dry. So at home, you won't be doing this with your cup because your blue tack or your Play-Doh doesn't need to dry, but we would do that in school before we did anything else. Then number 2, it says make a circle base and put your cup on the top. So we need to get a bit more of that blue tack or your Play-Doh. And here's my lump from last week. And we need to make a circle base that your cup will go on top of. Now this doesn't need to be very thick at all, and it only needs to be the bottom size of your cup. So just as I try and do this with mine, some kind of circle-ish shape that you will pop, and again it's hard for you to see because you can't see my table. You pop that on and pop your cup on top. Make sure there is a good gap around the edge, so you can see from the picture down there that it's not the exact diameter, not the same width as the cup itself, but so that your cup would be able to fit on and there would be a gap around the outside. Okay, number 3. We're going to take your clay, and it says to warm it up in your hands. Now with blue tack or Play-Doh, you don't quite need to do that. But we're going to roll our clay, or roll your blue tack, into long sausage shapes. So just with mine on my table, I'm putting it flat and I am rolling it to make it into that sausage shape. Now hopefully you can be doing this while you're watching me, so you're not just watching me roll my arm along the table. But I have quite a long sausage shape here. Now it's not the whole length of my blue tack, I still have quite a lot of blue tack or white tack left, but I've made one roll here. And then number 4 says to wrap the clay around the cup, starting at the base and making your way to the top. So I'm going to have to do that up here, and I'm just going to do it around my fingers so you can see. So we just roll that around, and you would start being able to make the sides. Now if I pop that on my base, you can see my base is on the bottom, and I've started coiling up. Now I'm not doing this around the cup because I don't have enough blue tack at home, and I don't have any children at home, so I don't have any blue tack, but I'm sure you will have better resources than me. Okay, it then says to use a tool to blend them together. So this part here, it's all the way around. So I've started, I'm going to take a bit more blue tack and continue to roll this on the table. And in school, there is a technique I will be able to show you that will join our clay properly together. But for now, you can see, there's my camera, you can see, oops, that it's ended just on this point here. And I'm just going to attach my next coil and keep rolling and rolling and rolling around. So you can see that it's come up again. So I've got 3 rolls of coil here. I'm going to keep going and do one more just to show you. Roll this back on the table, making that nice sausage dog shape. And again, there is a technique so that when we do this with clay, it doesn't just fall apart. But I'm going to connect that onto the join that I had and keep rolling up. And you will see that we are starting to have some kind of pot type shape. Got a hole in the middle and it's got my base. Okay, back to number 5, and it says to use a tool to blend the clay together. Now we used a knife last lesson, and I would like you to try and just smooth out those edges. Now I can assure you, because I did this last year with the other year 4s, that this is a lot easier with clay. But you can use your knife or use some kind of flat object to try and smooth out those coils so that they are blended together. So you can see just from the moment or two I've been doing it, I am taking out these coils down here and blending them together so they are smoother. This might take a while with blue tack. Hopefully with Play-Doh it'll be a bit easier, but we are then trying to make those as probably as flat as possible with your equipment. Now obviously with blue tack it's not overly easy, but what I am aiming for is a flat-ish side. So that's all I'm going to do for today. That's flat-ish, and it's a lot flatter than my other coils around the side. So that's my flat-ish side for you. Of course, I know yours is going to be a lot better than mine. And then number 6, this is the fun part. It says to use the tools, so maybe the knife at the moment, to add your design to the outside of your jar. Now, a lot of us copied the patterns with the lines down and the hieroglyphics on the outside, but you can draw anything you want to, really, as long as it's based on the Egyptians. So you can have one of the gods on the side. And what you would try to do is to use the end of your knife to put some kind of design onto the edge. Now I'm going to be very, well, I'm trying to do a jackal, so I'm just going to tell you before I start. So if I show you the edge there, you can see that I've kind of made a hexagonal type face, and there's some ears on there and some kind of nose. Now mine isn't great because I haven't spent long enough sorting my pot, but your idea is then to try and make your design as good as possible on the side. Emmett's question here says that he thinks the most important part is the design on the outside. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with Emmett, and why? Do you think there's anything he's forgetting about? Because we can already see from mine that my design isn't too bad, but I don't think I've done something else well enough to be able to say that that's the most important part. But go and have a go. When you come back, or if you want to do this part once you're finished, just think about where you are on the learning line once you're finished, see how your bases look. And if you want to, you can then pop your animal or whatever it is from afterwards on top or around your base if you'd like to. but have a go at that today. And like I say, I do promise that we're going to do this properly with clay when we get back to school, but I hope you enjoy having a go this afternoon, and I am really looking forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you very much for hopefully not laughing at my poor attempt. It is very tricky to do it whilst talking to you, and I can't have one prepared, but my class especially, you have seen the one that I kept from last year, and I've shown you what the outside of that clay pot looks like. And Stowe class, you might have seen it, but if not, I will ask Mrs. Plews to show you when we get back. Good luck with this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to seeing your photos because they're definitely going to be better than mine. Off you go then. See you soon. Bye-bye.